It was a quiet afternoon in the park when Emma's life, and that of a helpless little creature, took an unexpected turn. Amid the calm of rustling leaves and distant laughter, her eyes caught sight of a heartbreaking scene. A tiny baby chipmunk, scarcely larger than the palm of her hand, cornered by a menacing dog. Its trembling body was pressed against the rough bark of a tree, its small eyes wide with fear. Without a moment's hesitation, Emma rushed forward, waving her arms and calling out to scare the dog away. The frightened animal retreated reluctantly, leaving behind the fragile chipmunk, shaking and bruised. Emma stooped down, scooping the tiny creature into her hands. It was so light she could hardly feel its weight, yet she could sense the desperation in its rapid heartbeat. She whispered softly, as if her voice alone might reassure it, "You're safe now." Strangely, the little animal seemed to respond, its frantic shivers calming under her gentle touch. Emma knew she could not leave it behind. Carrying the chipmunk home, she carefully prepared a makeshift nest from an old shoebox, lining it with cotton wool to mimic the warmth of a mother's care. She gave it a name, Chippy, a small word that seemed to suit its delicate presence. But raising a wild baby was no easy task. Emma threw herself into research, learning how to mix a special milk formula and feed it drop by drop with a tiny syringe. Each feeding was an act of patience, requiring her to cradle Chippy in one hand while carefully releasing the nourishing liquid with the other. Nights were the hardest. Chippy often whimpered softly, and Emma, refusing to let it feel abandoned, kept it close by her side. She would wake at the faintest sound, stroking its back until it drifted back to sleep. Days turned into weeks, and slowly, Chippy began to change. The once dull and frightened eyes now sparkled with energy. Its body grew stronger, its movements more confident. It explored Emma's room with a mischievous spirit, hiding inside blankets, darting across shelves, and nibbling at anything that caught its fancy. On more than one occasion, Emma returned to find the corners of her favorite books gnawed or the wires of her lamp frayed. And yet, every small act of trouble brought laughter rather than anger. Emma's friends often teased her about the odd family member she had taken in, but she never minded. To her, Chippy was not simply a rescued animal. It was a fighter, a tiny warrior that had clawed its way back from despair. In its survival, Emma saw proof of resilience, and in its trust, she found an unspoken bond. One evening, as the sun set outside her window, Chippy climbed onto her shoulder. It tugged playfully at her hair, its tiny claws clinging lightly to her skin. Emma laughed, realizing how far they had both come since that day in the park. In that moment, she understood something profound. Chippy was no longer just a creature she had saved. It was family. Though Emma sometimes allowed Chippy to explore the garden, it never strayed far. No matter how wide the world outside seemed, it always returned to her, scurrying back into the safety of her embrace. That loyalty was not taught, it was chosen. Their story became more than one of rescue. It was a reminder that even the smallest lives carry immense strength, and that kindness, when offered without expectation, can turn fear into trust and despair into joy. In Emma's arms, Chippy had found not only survival, but a home. And in Chippy's company, Emma discovered that love often arrives in the most unexpected forms, sometimes no bigger than the palm of one's hand.